ask questions and make sure you are on the right path to small business wins and grant wins and success. I'm Superior Shelby. I am a 71% successful grant writer. I've been winning grants, millions of dollars in small business grants for the last 11 years. So I'm not new to this. I'm true to this, friend. And if this is your first time ever being a part of my live stream or ever seeing me on live, I want to thank you so much for joining. I'm doing this quick live stream today on Thursday, just so February 12th. So just so you guys have the opportunity to ask me any questions. I'm going to go over some frequently asked questions and then I'm going to answer them. Some of you guys comment, so I'll kind of go through some of my comments from my previous post. And hopefully I can get some questions answered in this live stream, okay? So in my past live streams, my live stream yesterday, we went over 3 really good grants that you can go over. We went over a $100,000 grant opportunity, a $10,000 grant opportunity, and a $25,000 grant opportunity for women entrepreneurs in the food industry. So you can go ahead and check those out. If you would like for me to learn, to talk more about how to find grants, how to answer questions, please make sure you are verbally, you are actually putting that in the chat. The whole entire purpose of this live stream is for us to have an interaction, for us to have a grant conversation, and for you to ask all the questions that you need to get clarity on, okay? Any of your curiosities, this is the whole entire purpose of the live stream. If you are looking for a live stream that's very more direct, or you're looking for a short video that's direct about a specific grant, then I do have some short videos that I dropped recently about a $21,000 grant opportunity, $10,000 grants, and all kinds of good stuff. So you can always refer to my videos. Finding the grants is actually not hard at all. It's all about submitting the grant applications and winning. So in this live stream, I'm hoping that I help you out with how to make sure your answers are formatted correctly, so that way you can give yourself a really good chance, okay? So I've been writing grants and winning grants for 11 years. I started out, as far as for my experience, I started out with school grants, of course, like Pell grants and all that good stuff, scholarships. I was coming out of college. Then I started a small business. So I started a credit repair business. Then 2020 hit, and things financially, economically hit all of us. I applied to a small business grant, and I was able to use that to pay back a $200,000 SBA loan. So I started teaching others, some of my credit repair clients that had businesses. I started applying to grants for them, started winning those grants. And then they, through word of mouth, they started telling their friends and other people, other entrepreneurs. And then that's how I was able to continue to scale this business and transition my credit repair business into grant writing consultancy, okay, and the small business development coach. So if you don't know what a grant is, a small business grant is a reward, usually in the form of a money that you can actually get from like a business entity like Amazon, Apple, Google, Walmart, Home Depot. They all give out grants. You can also get these small business grants from, your state and local governments, and you can get small business grants from other foundations and private investors and companies and things like that, okay? I find these grants using grant search engines like grantwatch.com. I talk about GrantWatch, and I've walked you guys through it once before. So grantwatch.com is a grant search engine that you can use to find these grants. Like I said, finding grants is actually easy, but how to actually apply and answer them is the kicker, okay? So grantwatch.com is what I use as my favorite website. And then besides grantwatch.com, you can use, other sites like HelloSkip. HelloSkip is not a search engine, but it is a dashboard that you can have access to be able to see a few other grants that you might qualify for. And then grants.gov, right? So that's the free federal government website for all grants, grants.gov. But I love grantwatch.com. That's actually where I find majority of the grants that I'm talking about here on YouTube. So a frequently asked question that I do get is, how do you actually apply to these grants? Logistically, I'm pretty sure you guys already know how to submit a grant application or how to submit an application in general online, because you most likely had to submit an application online in order for you to get the job opportunity that you have or had recently, right? So the logistics of how to submit an actual grant opportunity is no different from finding a job opportunity, let's say through LinkedIn or through Indeed, and then simply applying by providing the necessary information and documentation like your resume. So the logistics of how to submit a grant application is no different from putting in a job application. However, when I get that frequently asked question, I believe that question of how do you apply to grants, what you guys are looking for is like, what do I need before I actually go for grant opportunities? And also, how do I answer these questions? So I'm going to tell you now. So with what do you need to have before you go for small business grants? Before you go for grants, you should have things like, and just to give yourself the best chance at winning, because it is a competition. Before you go for small business grants, you should have a business plan. Even if you're in your idea stages, you should have like a budget item list. So you should have like a spreadsheet that shows exactly how much money you need and what you're going to spend that money on. So let's say, for example, you are opening up a food truck business, and you need the cost. You need like grant money for the food truck itself. You need a stove. You need all these other regulatory fees, whatever the licenses you need to be able to operate that food truck. So you need to put that in an itemized list using a spreadsheet, and you need to have the total at the end of that. So, you do need to have that as well. That can be a part of your financial statement or financial analysis inside of your business plan. So you need to have a business plan. The purpose of having the business plan and the importance of having it when we're going for small business grants is that the business plan explains exactly what your company does or is going to do, what your marketing strategy is, what are the risk factors of you actually being in this particular business industry, and also how you plan to scale within the next 5 years. So it shows that you already have a plan, and you are very um, you have a plan that you are actually going to follow along with. So that's why it's important to have, and goals that you're going to reach. So that's why it's important to have a business plan. Okay. Another thing that I noticed in these small business grants is applications is that they are looking for a 1 to 2 minute pitch video. So what a pitch video is, if you don't know what it is, pitch video, P as in Paul, ITCH. A pitch video is essentially when you are introducing yourself as the company owner or the founder of the company. You introduce exactly what the company does, so what your small business does. You explain why your small business product or service is needed right now for your customers. And then you explain how impactful your business will be if you are rewarded, or if you were to receive the funding that you're requesting. Okay. So you need to record a video. You can use the backside camera of your cell phone, and you need to record a video and definitely have some edits showing us exactly what you do. For example, let's say you are opening up a bakery shop and you do pastries. Well, show us some of those pastries that you have, and show us how, those pastries are, let's say, gluten free, right? And how that helps out your customers, and how you are targeting those who, are gluten free eaters. Or healthy eaters, right? So you want to show in this pitch video your product and service. You want us, it's a pitch, so it's really supposed to get us engaged into what your company does, and also make us feel like that we actually want to support, right? We want to buy your product and service. So that's what a pitch video is. One a really simplified example, good example I can give you is, think of it like a 1 minute commercial for your business. So you're essentially explaining, how you can help solve a problem. All right. So yeah, that's what that is. A pitch video is very much needed during these small business grant application times. Um, Ultimately, the small business grant applications, they ask direct questions like, tell us about your business. So that's an easy one. You just simply explain what your business is. Another question that you would see on these grant applications is, why should you be chosen? When they ask that question, why should your business be chosen? They're actually looking for a storyline. So they want you to tell them a time when you have went through a specific problem and you found the solution to that problem and you decided to make it a business, or you just tell them how you have always desired to start this specific business and how you have been working towards opening this company since whenever you came up with the idea. Okay, so they ask that question. Another question that you would see is, tell us your traction. Show us, explain to us your business growth since starting your business. Well, traction means explain to them how, from start to finish, how far have you gotten in your development process or in your business growth process. Yes, in 2026, you will actually have more small business funding opportunities if you have already done the foundations and you are actually actively searching for your clients and you already have reached out to your clients as well. It's not always about sales when we're talking about small business grants, but there are a lot of small business grants that would require you to make a specific annual revenue. Now, if you are not making a specific annual revenue, or if you are not generating any revenue right now, you are what's called a startup. Okay. So a startup business, it's very important that you know which stage you are in your company. Okay. So the idea phases is when you actually have not registered your company through the state. So you don't have an LLC, INCS Corp, C Corp, whatever have you. You don't have an internet presence, and you also don't have, like, an EIN number or a business bank account. You are in what's called the idea phases, which means you have the idea, you want to open up the company, you want to start, but you have not purchased the LLC or you have not gotten the EIN number, all that good stuff. That's called the idea stage. The next stage is called the startup phases. The startup phases is when you have actually registered your company through the state, you have an EIN number, you opened up a business bank account, and you have also started to open up, like, start your, let's say, internet presence. So you at least have an Instagram, a LinkedIn page, Facebook, TikTok. You probably don't have a website formatted yet, right? A formal website, but you do have a business Google profile, right? So you have not made sales. So you're in your startup phases. So you probably didn't make sales. You don't have any signups. You don't have any users, depending on what specific business you are doing. If you're doing something like in tech that requires you to have users, that requires you to have people that, let's say you're doing gaming or whatever have you, you're in your startup phases. You probably didn't even like get into beta testing and all that stuff for your tech company. Okay. So you're in the startup phases. A small business is one that already has the foundations done. So you have your LLC, or you have registered your company with the state, you have your EIN number, you have your business bank account, you have an internet presence, and you're actually starting to make sales, or you have growth in users. So there is more small business grants in 2026 and beyond, because no longer are they really interested in investing into those startups that have not made any effort, right, into moving forward. Now, here's the kick. If you are a startup, you have not made sales yet, and you have already registered your company, got your business bank account, all that good stuff, and you are actually in need of some funding, you actually would love to go for grant funding, because there's no credit checks, there's no personal information needed, like your social security number, and you also know that with small business grants that you don't have to pay them back. So it's literally free money that you don't have to pay back at all. You don't have to worry about, like, in the next 30 days, having to pay back a small business loan, line of credit, or credit card. So you are actually interested in small business grants. You do have a really great chance at winning startup grant opportunities, but it's very important that you show up and show out for your business when you are applying to the grant opportunity. You need to thoroughly explain exactly what your business does and how compassionate you are about solving a problem for the community that you're serving. And also, you need to explain exactly how you would use the grant funding. So let's say, for example, there is a $25,000 grant for all startups in the United States of America. No matter what business industry you're in, no matter what race, gender, ethnic group, or sexuality you are a part of, as long as your business is based in the United States, you qualify for a $25,000 grant opportunity. So this is an example. Now, keep in mind that because this is a nationwide small business grant opportunity, your competition pool is going to be quite a lot, okay? So you need to be able to beat out your competitors. And you're probably asking yourself, how do I beat out my competitors when I don't even know who I'm competing against in these small business grant opportunities? Well, the way that you actually increase your chances of winning is being as clear, concise, and compassionate in your answers. What does that mean? Okay, being clear. When they ask you, what does your business do? If you already have a mission statement that is literally less than like it's one sentence that directly says what you do, you're good to go. All right. You don't have to give them a full paragraph detailing and explaining it. No, give them your mission statement. This is what we do. We are a company that provides a safe space for persons with disabilities during the day. We are the best, we are the most reliable adult daycare in Tallahassee, Florida. Okay. All right, so you want to be very direct. When they ask you a question like, why should you win the grant money, right? And this is for all of you guys who are going for small business grants. You need to explain to them the storyline of how you actually started the business and how you've gotten this far, okay? So you explain to them, since 2020, I've always wanted to start my fashion line business, but because of the economic challenges that I went through, I wasn't really able to to invest into my fashion line. However, I did take the opportunity during our COVID shutdown to be able to focus on new sketches. And I'm so excited that I have done things like picked up an extra job, picked up extra hours at my new job or whatever have you, so I can invest into things like a mannequin, a new sewing machine, and some new fabrics and all this good stuff. So far, what I have done is I have actually made 5 ready-to-wear pieces that I have gotten some really great comments about on social media, on my Instagram and TikTok. With this let's say $25,000 grant, I'll be able to invest into some really key areas that will help me grow my fashion business. So when they ask you why should you be chosen, explain to them your story. What made you start this business? If you're thinking to yourself, I'm into real estate, I'm into trucking, so I really don't have a story as why, you have a story. You just have to be mission driven. It's more than just going for money. You understand? Jeff Bezos didn't start Amazon just for money. While he did, he actually had an ultimate mission. This man was you can see his growth. He was so serious about building the Amazon company since it started in 1994 in Silicon Valley when everybody else told him that it's not even going to work. He was so persistent that he actually decided to invest his time into the Amazon Kindle. You guys remember the Amazon Kindle? This was like, the small little pad that we had that you can actually read books on. Well, that was an addition. That was something that he invested his time into creating and got into doing the Amazon Kindle, which made ebooks a thing, right? Which made electronic books a whole thing. And he sold a lot of Amazon Kindles to be able to have the money to reinvest into the ultimate Amazon account that we are seeing today, in the Amazon business we are seeing today. He can actually explain his entire track record of how he was able to pivot into an industry that he saw that it needed some innovation. Be innovative, stay steadfast and forward on that idea, and use that money that he got from Kindle and reinvest it into Amazon. Now Amazon has robots and drones. You understand? It's like you have an Amazon station everywhere in the United States of America and also globally. But he has a storyline, and he tells us a storyline. You understand? You could literally look for it. So through YouTube, right? So when they ask you why should you be chosen, please be very compassionate in that question, in that answer. Another question, moving forward, like I said about traction, which we kind of got sidetracked there, but traction is when you are actually showing growth. So even if you are a startup and you haven't, received any sales yet, you haven't gotten to that point yet, you don't have much going on as far as in like any signups. Well, show us what type of growth have you already made. Okay, so traction can also mean, it actually means what growth can you explain to us that you've already made. They would love to give you the $25,000 startup grant for free, but you have to explain to them that you have show them what you have already done without their help, because you don't want to come to them looking like you're just asking for a handout. And also you want to show that you are a responsible, you're a responsible, diligent, disciplined entrepreneur. It's very important that you show that in your answer. And the best ways for you to do that is to already make something happen. I said this yesterday, and I'm so happy I talked about this yesterday. I'm going to bring it up again. When you become an entrepreneur, it's very important for you to actually develop your critical thinking skills and problem solving skills. I received one comment yesterday where a guy was like, "Oh, I guess I'm in my startup phases." This is what he said, and he's an inventor. Being an inventor or being in the tech world or doing any business, no matter what it is, whether you are an inventor or an investor, whatever have you, you must always have a problem solving skill. That means you are not going to let anything, any challenge, any problem, any roadblock stop you from being able to receive a yes or being able to accomplish a goal. So in the live stream yesterday, I was talking about the same thing I just said, that if you don't have a business bank account and you have not, received sales, that you are actually what's called you're in the startup phases. Well, the comment that the guy made was, "I'm an inventor. I guess I'm in my startup phase. I guess I'm a startup because, I guess I'm a startup because I have not opened up a business bank account yet." So I said, well, you can always open up a business bank account. I mean, you have every opportunity to do it. Just prioritize the time to do it. You can actually call them and they can do the application over the phone, and then they'll mail the card to you if you don't have time to physically walk into the bank. Okay. So then he was like, well, I didn't open up a business bank account because the bank that I went to, or my bank that I went to, they required me to put in, deposit a certain amount of money into my business bank account that I couldn't afford at the time. Here's where critical thinking and problem solving skills need to come into place, because essentially what he's doing is, it's just like, so you just going to allow time. My thought process is, so you mean to tell me you as an inventor, you're going to allow time to catch up to you, and as time goes by, the cost of things are actually going up as well. So which means the cost of the things that you need to create to develop your invention is going up as the minute goes by. So you mean to tell me you're going to allow time to go by, and you're going to continue to rely on the reason, right, or the excuse that, oh, because my bank that I'm already personally banking with told me that I need to put $500, $1,000 into a business bank account in order for them to open one, that I'm just going to wait until I have that money. Let me tell you something. What I would have done, I would have said, okay, I'm not going to use this specific, or I'm not going to use my personal banking or bank place, right? I'm not going to use this bank for a business bank account. Matter of fact, I'm pretty sure there's tons of other banks out here that will allow me to open up a business bank account with much less money to deposit into. So first, I would have started looking, Google searching, and finding other banks that have somewhere where it's like, oh, okay, a $50 deposit. You understand? Or a fintech bank that's an online bank where I don't even have to deposit anything until the first 30 days, to after the first 30 days. You understand? But problem solving skills. And you're an inventor. So I'm like, I responded to him. I said, it's very important that you start to develop your critical thinking skills and your problem solving skills. With you being an entrepreneur, this is not a game where it's like, oh, okay, oh, well, I'll just wait. No, the longer you wait, the more expensive things are going to become. And guess what? You're not going to have the money to do it either way. Why? You want to know why? Because life is going to always life. When you are working on your destiny, when you are fulfilling your dreams, let me tell you something. The world and the wickedness of this world is always going to be against you. Something will always happen. Not putting that directly on y'all, but it will always be something. You always have a bill you have to pay. You always have to owe something. You always have to prioritize something at the end of the day. That has nothing to do with your growth or focusing or prioritizing your business growth. That's just how it is. And so the ones that you see that are making million dollars a year, or the people who are making at least high six figures every year that are entrepreneurs, want to know what separates them from you is that they actually problem solve. They critically think, and they don't let anybody tell them no. They prioritize building their company. They prioritize putting a lot of faith and effort and work into their actual business, because guess what? At the end of the day, the things of this world, y'all live in a capital country in the United States. So you're always going to have something to pay, and it's literally so loud in your face every morning that you have to spend money every day living there. Just to breathe costs you $50 in the United States. So with you knowing that, it's like you have to literally prioritize this thing. I'm saying this with a lot of, coaching aggression, I would say, because I need for you guys to really get it that in 2020, after 2026, I really don't believe that this whole entrepreneur thing that you guys want to start, you want to get into, I don't think it's going to get easier. You must start to learn how to critically think and problem solve right now. So the guy who is allowing himself to not open up a business bank account, a freaking business bank account, that, come on now, not allow himself to move forward and grow, his mindset. You want to know what he said to himself? He doesn't even have to say it in the comment, because I have a discernment that God has blessed me with that is out of this world, and I give all the glory to God for that. I know that he said to himself when he read my comment that, oh, you know what? Not everybody thinks like that. Well, you need to start thinking like that if you want to become an entrepreneur. That's like playing the game of Monopoly and then somebody outbeats you because they decided to invest more into railroads and hotels. And then you're going to get pissed off in the game of Monopoly simply because you didn't think about that. No, you learn. Experience is the best teacher. Learn, grasp on that, and then start to create a strategic way of doing things in the next round of playing Monopoly so you can make sure you make all the millions and you win the game. Being an entrepreneur, you have to get your head in the game. Footballers and basketball players, they don't just go out there and just play. They literally have a strategic way of actually playing that will help them win. They study their opponents. That goes for offense and defense. They have to study their opponent so they know exactly, okay, we know Stephen Curry do this. We know so-and-so do that. We already know how the Boston Celtics play. We know every player. We know what they do. We know, matter of fact, we know that he just came back from tearing his ACL. So we already know he might not even play well. It takes the same efforts that you have into betting and putting in parlays, the same strategy that you come up with all of these other things. You have to have that same way of critically thinking and problem solving when you are becoming an entrepreneur. If not, get out of the game. Move over for people who are actually serious so they can start selling to you, so you can continue to have that consumer mindset and you can go ahead and start paying those serious business owners that are providing products and services to you. This is not a play in the park. It's something that you have to be really serious about. So the guy who's literally allowing himself not to open up a business bank account, the first thing that I would have thought about is, I'm not about to let my bank, who I've been personally banking with, stop me. What I would rather do is I'm actually going to search for other banks where I can put in like a cheaper deposit so I can have a business bank account and I can keep moving forward. Because see, the problem is that he's still in the startup phases, when he can actually move forward and start moving more on his invention. So now he is actually interested in going for really high ticket, let's say grants, right? And he's an inventor. So being an inventor, whether it's a product, like a digital product or, a physical product, whatever it is, right? Or a specific service that he's going to offer, whatever he is going to do, it's an invention. So it's something that's most likely we don't have it out here yet, right? So he'll have to invest into the research and development. He also have to invest into the payroll or the team to be able to develop these things, the prototype. There's a lot of money that he has to spend that I'm pretty sure that he has not thoroughly thought about that process yet. How I know is because of his comment about the reasons for why he didn't open up a business bank account. When you answer small business questions, the way that you answer them, they could tell when you are BSing. They can actually tell when you are actually not ready for this $100,000 opportunity you're going for. Based off of your grammar, based off of exactly specifically what you say. If you do not use mission-driven statements, if you do not pull certain specific keywords directly from the grant mission and add that into why the reasons for why you should be funded, or how this small business grant or how this grant is going to be impactful, I'm telling you right now, you're not even ready for this type of funding for real. I have a client that actually went to one of those people that you find on social media. You know, those people that are on Instagram, and then they're like, oh, you can get a $50,000, $100,000 loan through, let's say, US Bank as a business. All you need to have is an LLC and EIN. Well, let me tell you about my client who is 56 years old. She actually did it, and she went through somebody who she found on Instagram because she was scrolling. This is what she do. She doom scroll a lot. And she was scrolling, and she seen this person who had all this jewelry and who had Lambos and all this good stuff. He got her the $120,000 loan because she automatically came with good credit. She owns a house, so she has assets, right? Nobody tells you the back end of these things. You have to have a good personal credit report. She got the $120,000 loan through US Bank, but guess what? She came to me and asked me to apply to grants for her, which I applied to grants for her throughout the entire 2025. And yes, she won a grant. But her thing was, I don't want to go for loans anymore because I took out a $120,000 US bank loan and I don't know where that money is. She actually started my services, my grant writing services. I started writing grants for her in like July. She got this loan like in February of 2025. She said, I have this business, I opened up this food truck or whatever, but I'm gonna be honest with you, I can't tell you where $120,000 went. The food truck is not even out. I'm not even making any money from the food truck. Like, I don't have, like, there's no food in there. The only thing I can tell you is, like, I have the truck, I have, and it's not even a truck, it's an actual trailer. So I still have to put, haul it on my truck. But I don't know where this $120,000, I'll tell you where it went. It most likely went into personal things that you prioritized, and you thought that money was okay for you to spend on personal things that you went through. But hey, I'm not judging you. That's not what I'm here to do. I'm here to actually help you out. You don't want to be put in the situation where you go for loans or fast funding, and you actually don't know what you're doing. Especially if you don't have the mindset of how to problem solve and critically think, and especially if you don't have the strong discipline and willpower to actually invest correctly. It's very important that you have those specific skills, because you will get this money in your account, you will see the $100,000 or whatever have you, and you will think that it is time to go on a trip to the Maldives, to Dubai, to Puerto Rico, to Mexico. And that is not the situation. You must, and your answers on how you answer these grant questions really do explain that. Do I have any questions? So as far as in the guide, I did advise him correctly. I would have looked for another bank account. I also would have looked for other alternatives as well. You understand? I would never allow anything to stop me from a no or to stop my growth. With that specific person who's going to go for, who's an inventor, who's going for like more small business grants, or who's thinking about grants, they're going to ask you on the grant application, what traction have you already made so far in your business? Traction means growth. So what have you already done? He's an inventor. So they want to know, do you have a research and development team? I'm pretty sure you can't be doing this by yourself. In his mind, he probably like, oh, I didn't even know that I needed that. When you have a research and development team, it actually looks better. Something you guys probably don't know or do know, I'm building a grant search engine platform where I'm offering affordable grant writing services. So you can actually hire somebody, a team professional, to actually apply to a grant for you for just $30 per grant that you select in the dashboard. So I'm creating an entire grant search engine and grant tracking dashboard and affordable grant writing service that is so robust and out of this world that we don't actually have it yet on the internet. Trust me, I've done the necessary research. I have a development team and I have an entire board of members that is more than 10 people. When I'm going for pitches, it ain't just me. It's me, the person who does the development, the front end, back end, and the entire app design. It's also my chief marketing officer. Some of y'all know her. She's Barbara. Her name is Barbara. Right? You know what I mean? Like, I have a whole team. When I go to my investment pitches or when I'm speaking in these investment conversations and I provide them with a pitch deck that has all of our professional pictures and all this good stuff, I am showing up and showing out because I'm dead serious about going for investment capital of at least $2 million for this platform. This is not a game. What I'm building is not a game. I don't take it as a joke at all. So I'm hoping that you guys don't take your business as a joke. Some of you guys have an internal challenge that you possibly are battling, where you have faith that you are going to make it, but then it's also like you're up and down, you're lukewarm with it. In the Bible, God himself says that he doesn't want you to be a lukewarm believer. Lukewarm believer. You cannot be a lukewarm believer in spirituality and also in your business as well. You gotta like 110% believe that you can actually build this company and do it. When you are answering these questions, be very direct and show up and show out and be prepared. The number one reason why most small business owners actually don't win these small business grants is because they're not prepared. And it's not because you actually don't know how to prepare, but even if you don't know how to prepare, did you actually Google how to prepare for small business grants? Did you ask ChatGPT at least? Because ChatGPT is going to tell you the exact same thing I'm telling you. Start a grant folder, have everything in there, make sure you have a business plan, make sure you have a pitch deck, make sure you have a 30-second pitch video. It's going to tell you everything it needs to know because why? It pulls the information from my YouTube videos that I've been seeing these things for the last 7 years on YouTube for free. It's very important that you are prepared and actually give yourself the chance at winning by sitting down, reviewing the grant terms and conditions, going through everything, and actually submitting and applying, okay? What questions or curiosities do you guys have about small business grants? Let me see. So, wow, that's me. I have the basic foundation set for my business. I had a high score with HelloSkip, 8 out of 10, and still cannot get a grant from them after 20 attempts. The reason why, Anthony, is because HelloSkip, the $10,000 grant opportunity, is a nationwide opportunity. And I've said this before, but I'll speak it again because I don't think that you probably was with us when I said this. Anthony, one of the reasons why you have done more than 20 attempts with HelloSkip and you are trying to get either their $1,000 grant opportunity or the $10,000 grant opportunity is because the HelloSkip grant opportunities that are funded through the foundation HelloSkip is for nationwide, all businesses who are based in the United States. If you actually take a look and go through the HelloSkip platform, they have on their menu bar on the side, on the right-hand side, I believe, or left-hand side, sorry, they have it's called public directory. If you go through the public directory, you'll be able to see all of the businesses who are actually on the HelloSkip platform. I challenge you to go through some of those businesses or actually go through some of the winners, the previous winners from their $10,000 grant opportunity or whatever have you. And then you reassure yourself on the reasons for why they most likely won. One year, I remember Skip was giving out they had just started the $10,000 grant opportunity. This was in 2021. And I had applied to it and my answers was really good. So this is actually before they even had AI, artificial intelligence, to tell you the score of your answers. Well, the person that actually won the $10,000 grant, his story made a lot of sense. He actually owned a local pizza shop in California, and he was actually affected by wildfires that was going on. So the $10,000 opportunity was going to help him rebuild his physical brick and mortar that literally burned down. But they didn't stop selling pizzas. How they showed grit and determination, because one of the questions on the application is, how does your business, or how do you show grit and determination through all of your challenges, right? How do you persevere? Well, and this was called the $10,000 perseverance grant. So I remember this, and this was during the summer. He was explaining how he was actually using his home. He was using his home to continue to deliver pizzas and do all this good stuff. And matter of fact, he also used, because the things that I guess I don't know, he didn't want certain things to go old or whatever have you. But he gave out some pizzas to his local community, to those who had like burnt homes, whatever have you, so that way they can have food to eat. So he just like really showed community commitment. Like he was well deserving of the $10,000. You understand? There's nothing I can't be that. I'm an online consultant that writes grants for you guys. I'm not going through something as traumatic as that. While I am showing perseverance through everything and I'm showing up every day for my business, compared to somebody who's literally went through a physical California wildfire, which we all know was a serious thing, and still selling pieces, building his company, building his word, his reputation in his community. He was well deserving of it. So I definitely challenge you to go through the recent winners and reassure yourself on why they won, and then take a look at your company and see, have you actually established yourself to be as professional, resilient, and disciplined in that way as well. Okay. Now with the artificial intelligence tool, the AI tool that HelloSkip has, HelloSkip AI tool is literally to reassure you on the grammar and the way that the format of your sentences or the format of your answers. So that's what it's grading you on. It's not grading you on whether or not you would have a high chance at winning because you got an 8 out of 10. So it's important that you know that artificial intelligence is not there to tell you, oh, your answers are good. And matter of fact, your answers are like 8 out of 10, which means you have an 8 out of 10 chance at actually winning this grant. That's not how their AI works. The AI is to grade you based off of the grammar that you use and how detailed your answer is, and also specifically like how you're formatting your answers as well. Okay, so that's what that artificial intelligence is there for, to grade you on. All right, so it's your competition is pool with those grants are quite big. I would highly recommend, if you want to give yourself a chance at winning, go for some state and local funded grants. You can do a simple Google search. You can go to Google and type in small business grants for Black-owned companies, or small business grants for veteran entrepreneurs based out of wherever you're from, whatever city, state, town, zip code. And then it will bring up a few foundations that have grant programs that are locally funded and state funded, and go through those programs to see what business types they actually fund. Okay. You would have a smaller competition pool, and you would actually have a higher chance at winning those grants. And those grants don't run like raffles. Okay. They are more direct. It's kind of like a first come, first serve opportunity type of thing. Some of them are pitch competitions, so you might have to get in front of judges and explain to them what your business is about. Okay, so yeah, that is my advice to you. Thanks for the massive motivation and encouragement. All glory goes to God. Novo bank account costs nothing. A $50 deposit. A $50 deposit activates its feature. Good to know. See, Novo. I don't know about Novo, but if you guys are trying to open up a business bank account, there you go. I'm also working on my emotional intelligence and public relations. Cool. You can never be a 100% perfect person. Experience is the best teacher. Allow God to guide you on your journey, and keep moving forward in that way. Okay, because your journey is different from others. Sometimes you might need a little sprinkle of, attitude to get yourself, to keep yourself focused. Okay, so yeah, absolutely. Good morning. Any questions? Any questions, concerns, curiosities about small business grants? What are your challenges? You know what I mean? Drop it in the chat. Drop it all in the chat. Okay. This is literally the time for you to ask any questions that you might have. For those of you who have been texting me, I'm so pleased to tell you that I was able to, after almost a week now of not being able to have access to my client management software, CMS, I officially have been able to log in today. So I have over 20 messages that I actually need to respond to. So I'll be responding to you guys today. Those of you who are interested in booking a consultation with me, all that good stuff, I'll be sending those links to you today. I'm hoping that I didn't miss out on, your motivation to move forward. Okay, I'm going to give you guys like 2 minutes to drop your questions in the chat. If you don't have any questions, then thank you so much for joining me. Enjoy your Valentine's Day weekend. I pray that you guys have a lovely weekend, a weekend full of love, joy, and happiness. Yeah, have a great, amazing weekend. Of course, I'll be back here live tomorrow. So tomorrow will be a quick live stream, just like how we are doing for these past couple of days. Not much to really say besides, like, let's get to it. Grants is small business funding opportunities. It's a no-brainer. So it's kind of like, why not go for them? Oh, one frequently asked question I also want to address and comment that I've seen was, has anyone ever won this particular grant? Do the research, okay? And what I mean by that, and I know it's like so cringe to hear somebody say do the research, but what I mean by that is actually go to the grant's website and see who the past winners were, okay? Reassure yourself that this is a legitimate grant before you decide to apply, all right? So, if there's no further questions, you guys, I want to thank you so much for joining me. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Have a lovely, joyful weekend, and I'll see you guys tomorrow live on YouTube, okay? All right, bye bye for now.